No gimmicks, no tricks, just a closed clay sphere versus 1,945 degrees. First, I'm going to throw a sphere on the pottery wheel. I'll show you how I did that. Then I'm going to kiln fire it. Pretty straightforward. This pottery science experiment is brought to you by the coldest water. There's only a couple more days to grab the coldest gear before Blackout November is over. Buying their products using the links in the video description helps me to continue to deliver content. So I very much appreciate it. And they honestly make the best water bottles ever, so check out the details in the video description. Now, let's see if this will blow up. There are a couple of things that make sphere firing challenging. First off, throwing a sphere isn't super easy, and I'm a very part-time hobby potter. But with that said, let's get into throwing a sphere, and I'll explain as we go. When we add heat to most objects, they will expand. I say most, so there won't be that person in the comments that tells me of the exceptions that actually contract when they're heated. Thank you, Dennis. I know ice expands as it gets colder. This is the reason we let pottery dry completely before putting it into a kiln. If moisture inside the walls of a pot expand, there's no place for it to go. Kaboom! I keep saying moisture because that's the most common culprit for kiln explosions, but the same can happen with air bubbles. Heat makes it expand, it tries to expand, there's no place for it to go, kaboom! To avoid said explosions, normally when throwing an enclosed object, potters will poke a hole to release pressure. That's the smart thing to do. I'm not doing that today. However, I do want this sphere to survive, so here's what I am doing to increase the chances of survival. I actually threw this enclosed air pocket here about a month ago, and I've let it dry that entire time. I even placed it on top of my kiln as the kiln was firing to make 100% sure it was completely bone dry. No moisture, no expansion, no explosion. I'm also going to fire the kiln at the slowest setting so it gradually comes up to the full temperature. Most explosions I've seen have been during fast firing, and I'm hoping this will help my ball survive. So let's get that going and see what happens. In the comments, post what you think will happen. I seriously have no idea. I'll see when you see. I'm going to see in a few days, you're going to see in just a few seconds. To keep this a surprise to myself and to you as well, I'm going to put a cup over top of it inside of the kiln. This will first off keep it, if it does explode, it'll contain the blast. But also, we'll both be able to reveal and see what happens at the same time. Let's see what happens. I'm kind of excited about this. Here we are a couple days later. I can still feel the heat coming off the kiln because I'm one of those impatient people. So it's still a little hot in there. I'm going to reach in and try and figure it out. I have everything else unloaded from the kiln. Last thing in there is that ball. Let's check it out. Before we take this out, I just want to show you here. Can we see that? 115 degrees. So that's the air temperature in there. So it's pretty hot still inside this kiln. Okay. It's a little warm, but let's see. Oh my goodness, it worked. Ouch, ouch, that's very hot. Whew. So there you have it. It can be done. A sphere, an enclosed ball of air can be fired inside of a kiln if you are careful. Isn't that crazy? Oh my goodness, it stayed together. Now again, I want to emphasize, this is not the one you saw thrown in the video. The one that you saw thrown in the video, I actually turned into a pumpkin. And I did poke a hole in that one because I wanted to make sure that that one survived. But this one here is the one I threw a month ago, and I've had it drying that whole time. So really, really excited. There we are. An enclosed sphere, no holes there. I'll show you. It has absolutely no pressure release holes underneath. It's completely contained. Even the top there. Smooth. Ouch. Yikes. Want to give another shout out to my sponsor, the Coldest Water. They make this video possible, so thank you for sponsoring this scientific experiment to see if we could throw an enclosed circle of clay. Have a wonderful day.